You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And this is the Mustang Mach 1.
And this is the Civic Type R limited edition.
I don't know what you're thinking. You saw the cars in the thumbnail. Don't worry, there's lots more to come. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea, grab a pop, beam it up onto your 70-inch flat screen, rent a cinema room. You know you're a classy bunch. These are the special editions after all. They deserve it.
Man, I love Throttle House.
Okay, the Mustang Mach 1. People say that this is just a Mustang Bullet with a track package. So?
It's awesome because the Mustang GT by itself is a fantastic car. But add the upgraded engine from the Bullet, the oil cooler subframes, bushings, and transmission from the GT350, the rear axle cooling system, some suspension components, and diffuser from the GT500, and you get the most track-capable non-Shelby Mustang Ford has ever produced.
Or, for the same price, even though it shouldn't be the same price, but because the dealers have marked it up, it's now the same price as the Mark 1, almost the same as the M2, it's ridiculous. There's this, and it's more than just its Ronald McDonald paint scheme. In fact, it kind of looks like a reverse of the fries in a bag emoji. But that doesn't matter because the Civic Type R is the best hot hatch on sale. Now, there are hot hatches that are easier to live with, and there are hot hatches that put out more power, but none provide the sheer rambunctiousness of the Civic Type R. This limited edition is one of 1,020 examples worldwide, and one of 100 Canadian examples that sold out in just 4 minutes when the order form released months ago. And like the Mark 1, it is also adorned with a numbered plaque. And those who aren't hiding it away in a garage so that they can make a buck in 20 years will be able to enjoy its track-focused upgrades, which we'll put to the test in a minute. So it may not get any extra power or all-wheel drive, and it still has all the fake vents, but when there's 306 horsepower from a 2-litre 4-cylinder, not enough. Because thanks to the limited slip differential, and just the setup of this car generally, and I know there are a lot of people that think it should be all-wheel drive. No, it's so fun as a front-wheel drive car. And compared to that Mustang, this is a family of 4 lighter. And since we're not driving it at its limits on the track yet, I still get to engage with it because that power is not absurd. I get to use all of it. I'm shifting with this new shifter that came out in 2020, which is weighted differently, more like the S2K shifter, which is wonderful. I got the Alcantara steering wheel, R+ mode, I got the lights flashing at me. It is just a riot, almost at any speed. And then, if you decide to take it to the track, it comes alive all over again. And because this is the LE, I'm hoping it's just going to be that one step above.
So, the Type R is obviously quite a weapon, but it's out here going up against a beast of a Mustang.
But the things that matter to me are that this is still fundamentally a Mustang. They haven't ruined it by making it too track specific, which means that the ride in comfort mode is still soft. The seats are comfortable, the visibility is great. You can cruise in this car. But from a performance perspective, 480 horsepower, it really does rip, and the Coyote engine sounds as good as it's ever sounded. It bellows and it wails and it revs really high. It's just a fantastic thing. And this has the 6-speed Tremec, which is different than the normal Mustang GT. And honestly, it's something that's worth considering upgrading to because it's really, really good. You can slam through gears. This has no lift shift as well. which, I mean, any car technically has no lift shift if you just no lift and shift, but this one actually modulates for you. So you keep your right foot flat on the throttle, slam the clutch, bang the next gear. It's just such a cool experience. It's like an injection of testosterone each time you slam the next gear. That said, the rest of this car does just pretty much feel like a Mustang to me. The difference between the steering in this and a GT500 is noticeable. This kind of has that rubbery, fake, on-center, numb front end feeling. And the GT500, must be said, it is a completely different feeling car than this in chassis. But that's the whole point, because this is supposed to bridge the gap between the GT and the Shelby models. The thing is, this doesn't feel like much more than a Mustang GT to me on the road. And so unless you're obsessed with the Mach 1 nameplate, I don't think I'd bother with one of these, especially for the price. That is, unless you plan on taking it to the track, because this one has the handling package.
Yeah, that thing looks as good as it sounds.
It is really cool.
Yeah. All right, you ready for the track?
No.
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 Why not?
Because Ford Canada said under no circumstances and with no exceptions is this allowed to see a track, a drag strip, no burnouts, no performance driving of any kind whatsoever.
Of the Mach 1?
Of the Mach 1, yeah. This one.
This track-packed Mustang with the new heat exchangers, the rear axle cooling. This has the handling package.
Yes, the one that's literally built from the ground up to be a track car.
With the Cup 2s,
Yep,
the
Cup
wheels,
2s.
the
Yep.
the aero.
The Aero, yeah.
No, that's ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
But and did you explain to them that we
replace the tires.
replace the tires and we have insurance and
And we have a private track.
Just
and
nothing?
Experienced drivers, zero.
what about
zero
all the Mustangs we've tracked before?
No, that's just all the kindness of owners, right?
True.
Ford Canada said that this track car cannot see the track ever.
Okay.
But that's okay, because I brought something else.
Okay, this might not have the incredible engine that the Mustang has, but it has everything else.
And that's because it's the M2 CS, the third special edition of the day. It's the final and greatest version of an already great car, trimmed all over in carbon fiber and aero bits, upgraded to 444 horsepower, sitting on sticky Cup 2 tires, and given adaptive dampers. The M2 CS is a perfect example of what the ultimate BMW M car can be.
That means that compared to the M2 competition and the M2, the original one, which I have tracked, this is the best possible version of the best possible car. Every single thing about this car on the track is absolutely perfect. Turn into a corner and it creates front-end G-forces that are absolutely unbelievable. The rear breaks away in such a predictable fashion with the M differential. And even though we're on Cup 2s and the limits of grip are higher, the characteristics of the M2 are still there. It breaks away more aggressively than the M4. But it's just such a playful little thing. You gotta have fast hands and fast feet. And it's just it's snarling, it's angry. I love it so much. But with this new suspension, this new damping setup, the adaptive dampers, this car has a level of poise that it never had before. I'm capable of carrying speed in and out of the corners that is way beyond just a little 2 Series. It's just unbelievable. The only way that you can unstick it is on the throttle. The front doesn't go, ever. Just here, coming out of a corner just a little exuberantly, and the rear goes. You can just rotate the car perfectly around the apex. Put the rear tires on the exit curbing, blast off down to the next straightaway. It is easily the most fun, most sorted sports car I think I've ever driven. And that's a lot. I've driven the Cayman. The Cayman is more serious than this. This does the same stuff that the Cayman does, but with a big eating grin on its face. But the thing is that the soul, the heart of the M2 is still there. It's still what's the word? It will catch you out if you're not ready. Once you chuck it into a higher speed corner. You just gotta be on it, you really do. Did I mess up the exit of that drift? Yes. Does it matter? No, because I'm having fun. Look at my hair, look at this. This hair is having as much fun as I am. I just can't stop doing this. Oh my God. This car is so good. Okay, so I know I'm being an idiot and sliding the car around, because it's like the most fun car ever. But I want you to know that the upgrades that have been made to the M2 CS, whether it's the aero, the weight reduction, the damping, the tires, they make it objectively better as a lap time car. I already know it's going to be faster than the M2 competition. But the question is, by how much?
Okay, R plus mode, or plus R mode. It says plus R mode. I've always found that weird. That would be like if we created a second YouTube channel and then called it Extra Throttle House instead of Throttle House Extra. Wait a minute. Okay, pushing the Type R LE. Now, this obviously benefits from all the changes that 2020 got. So all the suspension upgrades and the shifter, and the folks at Honda aren't playing a numbers game in terms of power. They understand that when it comes to speed on track, weight savings is just as, if not more, important. This is 50 pounds lighter than the normal Civic Type R. And just over half of that comes from the fact that they've removed the sound deadening materials around the cabin. And the other half is in the wheels and tires. This is on Michelin Cup 2 tires. In fact, every car today is. It is a phenomenal track tire, grip galore. And more importantly, it's got forged BBS wheels, which are the massive difference there. And that's the unsprung weight. So that's the weight that's not sitting on top of the suspension springs. As a result, we should have an even more ridiculously precise front-wheel drive weapon. But do we? I will say that we are on a bumpy track, and the suspension changes, and this has software, special software for the LE, so even if you were to mod your normal Type R to change the wheels to these, you wouldn't be able to benefit from the software, and Honda have said you can't buy the software either unless you're in the LE. But because of that, it's quite stiff. And when I say quite stiff, I mean it's very stiff. You might be able to see me bouncing all over the place and realizing how much weight I've gained in COVID because my boobs flip. But that's actually serving as a disadvantage on the track because, first of all, there's a bit of understeer because the chassis is just so stiff. But also, I can't really put the power down. In R Plus mode, with the traction control completely off, I'm not able to get enough traction to keep my power down like I normally am in a normal Type R. And then in Sport Plus mode, which doesn't let you turn off the traction control all the way, it's limiting my power every time we bump. So, even though it's an absolute riot on track, that you can drive at the limit without feeling that you're going to kill yourself, I'm worried about the lap time for Thomas because that's all going to work against him. This is... Do you hear that throttle going like that? That's my foot to the floor, which in a normal Type R I can do no problem, but it's not gripping. So my hopes of a crazy lap time that can touch the M2 CS might be dashed.
Okay, time for the lap times. As always, the rules are 1 warm-up lap and 3 hot laps only in each car, and this is filmed at the beginning of the day when the tires are still fresh. Now, the fastest lap of the M2. I wasn't kidding when I said this car was really good. First of all, BMW seems to be lying about its horsepower numbers again because the speed of this thing in a straight line is immense, almost 20 kilometers an hour faster on the straightaway than the M2 Comp. And with the Cup 2 tires and new damping, this car felt perfectly at home at our track, absorbed all the bumps and just kept getting torqued to the ground. I drive with all the systems off, and it's so easy to steer this car through the corner on the throttle. If you have the bravery, you can really sling it in and then sort it out with the steering and throttle. It's a joy to drive, and I noticed right away that it felt significantly faster than the M2 Comp around our track. Let's watch the rest of the lap. We'll wait till the end for the times, but here you can see that after only 3 laps, without the ceramic brakes, this happened.
Brakes died. Brakes died. Brakes died. Woo!
Okay, now for the fastest lap of the Type R LE. James was very correct in his track assessment of this car. It's still an incredible front-wheel drive car, but the new damping software made it very, very hard to keep the power to the ground. And when I tried different damper settings, the stability control was just too intrusive. So Plus R mode managed the fastest lap time even though I was being shaken to death. The next thing was the understeer. As James mentioned, it doesn't feel like the original Type R we tracked a few years ago. That one could carve a perfect arc through these corners with a little bit of controllable slip angle. The LE plowed straight on a balanced throttle, off throttle, or trail braking, which made it very hard to place it precisely on the track. But it is on Cup 2s, so I was hoping it would be able to close the gap to the M2, because in our original M2 versus Type R track test a few years ago, they were only a second apart. Let's watch the lap and find out.
Okay,
Curious.
I have news.
Curious. What a lineup.
This is a crazy mix of cars, right?
Yeah, but all special editions, all
Yes.
Cup 2s.
All Cup 2s.
And all probably you have to buy them for more than they say. Seriously.
Yes. And the Mach 1, what a lap time it laid down.
Oh.
Just legendary.
Like you can't get better than 0. That's the quickest.
It's literally
time.
technically the quickest
Yeah.
time that's possible.
I really have a lot of love for this car.
It's very cool.
It's so easy to
Just
live
look at
with.
it though.
I love the look of it.
This whole thing. Anyway,
Some people are upset because the
Yeah.
Mark 1 a long time ago, or it's supposed to have a shaker hood.
Right,
With that
yes,
scoop,
and it doesn't.
have that. So people are just saying it's decals and an extra price, but
But in terms of straight up road presence, it's pretty fantastic.
it's so easy to live with. Comfortable.
Very soft.
I love it.
Speaking of damping,
Yes.
so as you
That
noticed,
from looking from the sidelines, that seemed to be a big part of today.
that's a bit of an issue with this, as I'm about to explain
Okay.
with the lap time.
Okay.
Shall we throw the leaderboard up so people can
Yes,
see?
I'm going to bring it up on my phone.
Okay.
Not just on Tinder.
Because, well, I don't know if they know that, but we can't see the leaderboard floating in the sky. Did you know that?
I can actually see, that's the,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay. So,
I hope we edit it so it's over here.
okay, so the Type R, the regular Type R, what did it do? This is before the 2020 updates, by the way.
1:14.81.
It did 1:14.81. Okay.
A respectable time.
So this, with Cup 2s, some suspension upgrades, should be significantly faster, you'd think, right?
Significantly, yeah.
Yeah, but as you felt, there's a few compromises and trade-offs.
Yeah, very bouncy, struggles to put the power down.
Okay, it did and I swear to God, I checked the pressures, everything.
I'm so nervous.
Everything went perfect on this lap. This was the most time that I could possibly extract out of this car. 1:14.6.
1:14.6. Okay, so just a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Just a bit quicker.
But it should have done better than that. I think the problem is that they built and tuned this car as a publicity stunt to set a lap record at Suzuka.
Right.
Our track does not do this car well. It was too stiff.
Yeah, it's a bumpy track.
And you explained the thing already about the
traction
traction
control.
control,
Yeah.
and you can't turn it fully off, and there's no compromise.
I'm curious then, Thomas, because
Yeah.
that makes me wonder what a normal Type R
on Cup 2s
could do at our track.
Yes, exactly, right?
Right.
This is a very demanding like little circuit we've got here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's pretty old and it's kind of bumpy, so it's kind of like a mini tighter Nürburgring.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a very unfortunate time, and
Right,
I really wish that it did more than that.
What about this guy? Because the M2 Comp was one of the first cars to ever grace our track.
Yeah, this is also disappointing.
It's disappointing?
Yeah.
No, I like this
It's
car.
disappointing because I don't own one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the C8 Corvette time on leaderboard?
See, cool. That's way above the M2 Comp.
It might be there. Yes.
I think it's there.
Okay. Is it over there?
It's 1:11:53.
Okay. Next question. What's the Camaro ZL1 1LE time?
I don't know where you're going with this. 1:11:12.
Okay.
And those are irrelevant because it did a 1:13:2.
Right. No, it did a 1:10:35.
1:10:35.
Yes, James, it did a 1:10:35. I'm not making
I
that
don't
up.
understand.
You can go back and do a stopwatch on the video if you really want. That's why the full lap is in the video. I'm not making it up. I'm not fudging it.
I don't understand.
I understand because I drove it, and it is,
Yeah.
without question, by far and away, the best sports car in the world right now.
It's a ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous claim.
Statement.
Like, yeah, obviously, like the Cayman and all that stuff.
Even this B loves
The B, he loves it. Yeah, you okay?
Yeah.
If all things considered, in
Yeah.
terms of the livability, the fact that there's a rear seat, the fact that it has all of the cool, and it looks amazing, and it does a time like that, means that it is an absolutely mind-boggling, sensationally perfect car.
That's an astonishing time.
It is an astonishing time, James. Like I'm so blown away by it. Like I
Yeah.
looked at the time, I was like, that can't be right. But
You're
then,
a bastard. You're a bastard. I'll tell you why. You're standing among 3 cars
Yes.
that are being marked up at the moment.
Yes.
And all you're doing is saying how good this is. You're not helping anyone.
I'm not helping me because I want one of these. No, honestly, it was just like for our track. Okay, the Camaro ZL1.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna go, what the hell? How is it possibly faster?
Because
than
it's
the
got 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet.
Yes, it doesn't make any sense. Well, it does though, because that Camaro on our track was very stiff.
Very stiff.
It was in a stiff setting, to be
Yes.
fair. So a Camaro on a proper setting, like dialed in for our track.
Yes, we'll crush this.
Yeah, probably.
will crush it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But the Camaro just couldn't get the power down the way that this could. With the new dampers in this, the Cup 2s, a little bit of aero, lower center of gravity, more power. Everything added up. And the fact that it's a short wheelbase and we have a lot of tight corners.
Yeah.
Everything added up to this being, it might as well have been built for that track. It's just so perfect to drive around here that it's just, I sailed through every corner. Gearing was perfect. Everything was absolutely lined up to make it the fastest.
Should we do a Kickstarter to a crowdfunding source thing for Thomas to get him?
No, I would never ask people
So
to do
my
that.
answer to these 3
Yes.
is GT350R.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really like this.
Yeah,
this
no,
comes,
that's a great
this comes at
car.
quite a premium.
Yes.
And you can't, they're not doing the GT350R anymore. It's such a shame. It's
It
such
is,
a shame.
it is a shame, but I mean,
Also marked up.
yeah. Out of these 3 cars, though, even if that was a GT350R standing in front of me,
You'd still go for this.
this is the choice. It's just such an unbelievable machine. And I really, really don't think that BMW is going to top this with the next M2.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be able to do it. It's just impossible.
Or-
This is
Or for a third of the price. Normal Civic Type R.
a normal Civic Type R.
Great
Yeah.
fun, great
Yeah.
car. Really cool cars though.
Very cool cars, great day, lots of fun. Yeah. Do we have a way? We didn't plan an ending.
Oh, let's do some hot laps of the Mark 1.
Oh no, we can't.
Oh yeah.
But maybe one day we will, if a local Mark 1 owner reaches out to us. Which we hope happens because, no doubt, it should lay down a pretty impressive time. But until then, Thomas and I did take to our aforementioned poorly named Extra Throttle House channel to discuss the Mark 1 Mustang further, a video that will be available soon, so make sure you're subscribed over there as well to catch that.
For now then, today's crown, and one that you have to pay handsomely for, goes to the M2 CS. It really is that great. The new M4 is fun to drive, don't get me wrong, but the M2 CS is the whole package. Blistering performance and endless smiles. It's a car that you genuinely feel excited to stand beside.
As for the Type R LE, it has all the makings of the ultimate track Type R, just not at our track. It may have an already ascribed higher value and is poised to become a collectible, But if you're just looking for the Civic Type R experience, you're really not missing out on much if you get the regular Type R. And, like the other cars today, there's an entirely new generation coming in the near future. It's all very exciting. And thank you to Michelin Canada for generously donating tyres for the day. Thanks for watching.